Now, way back in 2009, Ideal Heating launched the Logic range of boilers. They've since gone on to sell over 5 million units. So, with this 5 million unit sale, I thought, that's got to be worth a review. So, let's get on with it and find out exactly how the Ideal Logic range of boilers have changed from 2009 to present day 2024. Now, like the Ideal Vogue boiler, the Logic range of boilers has been quite a good seller on our website. So if you want to buy one of these boilers, why don't you check out our website, www.tomcatphs.co.uk, for prices and models. Now, first thing, how do you know how old your Ideal Logic boiler is? Well, if you're a customer, underneath here, or on this side here, there will be a sticker, and the last digits on the right hand side will be the date. But on the early versions, for some reason, they put the year first, then the month, and then the day. They kind of swapped it around, but now on the newer versions, it's back to the normal dates, but it's still in the same position. So this boiler we have here is a 2011, and this one we have here is a 2015. So let's look at the other ways of telling how they've changed. Now, one of the first changes Ideal did to their boiler was this horseshoe clamp on the flue elbow. Now, this one on one of the early models clipped in, and it wasn't secure, and it meant the flue could pop up. So what they did was they put a screw in the end here in the horseshoe clip to stop that happening, and that happened very, very early on. Now, this 2011 version has this on the flue, but this 2015 version has the newer flue system, which is still used today. A major change on the new model was to fix the turret seal onto the boiler permanently to make it easier and safer when you fit in the flue. Now, while we're still at the top of the flue system, you can see this little connection here. This is where we used to do our flue gas analysing from. Now, we used to have to put our manometer tube on there and then slide it actually onto the end of the probe to be able to do our flue gas analysing, because the flue elbow didn't have any sample points in there. Now, when they changed it, there is now no sample point here, but the flue elbow now has a sample point as it is today. Now, the older version of the boiler has a metal combustion cover, but the new combustion cover is plastic. Now, we've also had quite a few changes in the little display or the screen. First of all, on the Logic Plus, we had the long thin screen. Then we kind of progressed to this green backlit, and the blue light comes here when the burner comes on, and it's a 2-inch screen. Then we got this 2-inch screen, which is black and white, but is a lot brighter and a lot lighter, and we can do a lot more with this screen. And then we've gone to this full colour 3.5-inch screen. Now, once we take the covers off and we've dropped the flaps down, this is where we can see quite a few changes in the different boilers. Now, when these originally came out, they were the Logic and the Logic Plus boiler. And the major difference being the Logic Plus had chrome pipes in there and had a longer warranty. Now, the hydro block in this side is made of brass, and they changed it to this composite. And I'm not really quite sure when they changed it. Like I say, this is a 2015, and this does have the composite. This is a 2011, has the brass. Also, we've got one upstairs, which is a 2013, and that has the brass hydro block. So 14, 15 when we changed to the plastic. Well, they don't like to call it plastic, they like to call it composite. Now also, besides the brass and the plastic hydro blocks, we've actually got different positions for the condensate trap. It's twisted. So this one is kind of facing that way and this one is facing this way. And you can see that more underneath. Now when we look at the condensate trap closer, we can see this one here has like a drain cap on it, whereas then they got rid of the drain cap. I think it must have been causing more problems than it was worth. And also you had to take the drain cap off before you could get the condensate trap out. And you can also see here on this one, the trap plug is actually broken. In 2022, with the launch of the Logic 2 range, they moved the blow-off position and the condensate to this left-hand side of the boiler. But after a few months after complaints by engineers, Ideal ended up moving the pressure relief valve, or the blow-off, back to its original position on the back of the right-hand side. And again, because of this move, the condensate trap has actually changed style again. There has also been a progression on the filling loop over the years, going from a braided hose now to a fixed copper pipe with a green handle. Now we're taking the actual front panel down again. You can see this one here is still intact and it attached to a metal catch, whereas in this one you can see it's broken off and this is a plastic catch. This happens to a hell of a lot of these Logics, where that snaps off and it just falls down. On the new version we don't even have that clip now. We have two clips on the side here which clip in here. So when we close it, now one of the other big changes you'll see down here on the water set in the boilers is the changing of the pumps. Now way back on the 26th of September 2015 they introduced the ERP directive, which is the Energy Related Products Directive, which basically said boilers need to be more efficient. So that's when we got the modulating pumps. So what these pumps are designed to do is slow down when they sense increasing pressure. So as thermostatic radiator valves close down, the pressure from the pump increases, so the pump will slow down. Now the ERP was revised again in 2021 to make these pumps even more efficient. So that's the changes we've had with the pump. Now we've got the control panels back up, let's have a look at the changes made on there, because there's quite a few. So first of all, you can see there is no pressure gauge on the front panel. When it came out, they are under here on the flow pipe. It's now moved to here on the front panel. Next, you can see there are 4 dials on the front of here. And then it changed to 3 dials. And since the launch of the 2022 Logic 2 range, there is only 2 control knobs now. And something slightly different about them is they will spin all the way round, so the general public won't snap them off going past the stops, which will then stop Ideal having to replace the board. Now this is the newest Logic we have here at the centre, and this boiler was manufactured on the 28th of April 2021. But in September 2022, Ideal launched the Logic 2 range of boilers. So let's see how they went from this boiler to the boiler we have now. First of all, if we start off at the top, it looks like the old fan. but it's changed. It's a lot quieter than the old one, but made by the same people. Also, the heat exchanger has had a few changes. The flame rectification is gone. It's now all in one. So flame rectification, flame conductance is in now one thing. Also, the spark generator has changed. They're now using the spark generator that comes with the Vogue. If we look a bit lower down now, you can see the gas valve is not there. It's now moved to the bottom of the boiler, which Ideal now say is a safety feature, so you've only got one connection inside the boiler, not two like it used to do. Said people were leaving leaks. Now the condensate trap has moved slightly over from middle to left, and it's got a new clip to hold it in. So if you twist it to the left, this little tab here then comes out from the casing of the boiler, which holds it in. So it's a quick turn, lift out, and it comes out incredibly easy. Also down at the bottom now, you can see the pressure relief valve has moved from the right hand side of the boiler to this left hand side. So it's just removed this clip and it literally just pulls straight out. It's as easy as that. And you can now see there is a swaged end on the pipe, which is about 12-13 millimeters, and it will slot inside the 15, and then that rubber collar down at the bottom and the clamp will hold it in. Now they've also changed the electrical side, so on this left hand side now we've got the high voltage connections, which you can see are just terminal blocks. And on the right hand side of the boiler now is the connections for the weather compensation and the open therm connection at low voltage. So that's the changes to the electrical connections at the bottom. Other major changes on the electrical side are the thermistors. So there used to be one hot water thermistor here at the top of the heat exchanger and a thermistor, a dry pocket one, on the right hand side here on the return pipe above the pump. Now they have three wet pocket thermistors. The first one is here, just on the flow pipe. Then there's one down here on the cold water, and then one here on the back of the pump on the return. Now the reason why they've got three wet pocket thermistors now is to make it safer, and so they can have preheated water coming into the boiler. Now this movement of the thermistor from up here on the top of the heat exchanger to down here on the pipework has caused a few problems for Ideal. Now on the 1st of February this year, so 2024, they did a recall of any boilers which were manufactured from August 2022 to the 7th of January 2024 were recalled for safety upgrades. So basically what happened was 1 in 10,000 of the boilers was catching fire and melting this plastic cover what should be here. So what they've decided to do is do an upgrade, and they've put another thermistor back into the top of the heat exchanger, which connects down here to the low water pressure sensor. So if that thermistor gets activated because of heat, it will knock the boiler off like there was no water in the system. So what other Achilles heel have the Logic suffered over its life? Now probably the biggest problem with the early Logic boilers was the sump leaking. Now lots of theories why this happened, one of them being engineers were tightening up the screws too much, and others that the composite plastic wasn't good enough for the flue temperatures, or the flue temperature was too hot. Whichever way you look at it, it was a big problem, but not so much now. Now another major problem the Ideal Logic has suffered with is the failure of their main heat exchanger. Now this heat exchanger is made of aluminium, but it does come with a 10-year warranty. So what problems has this heat exchanger had? Now this main problem is this aluminium heat exchanger pinholing, and that meaning the central heating water pressure is lost through the main heat exchanger and then out through the condensing trap. So the customer not really noticing any leaks, just noticing the pressure in the heating system is going down, and they need to keep topping it up on a regular basis. Now sadly the main cure for this will be to remove the full heat exchanger, But we could try and prevent this by making sure the central heating water is kept as clean as possible at all times. Now, since the revamp of these heat exchangers, I've not really heard of this problem happening now. But in the old versions, it was quite a problem. Now, probably the biggest problem I've had to deal with these boilers is a very loud whistling noise when this boiler is in low fire, so when it's running on central heating and it's nearly up to temperature. Now, I have found in my experience there's quite a few things that could go wrong with it. One of them could be the venturi can be blocked. So this is where the air comes in for combustion and mixes with the gas. Another one could be there's a plate inside the main burner which can come loose and make a vibrating whistling noise. But the most common fault has been the gas valve. Now, even though we finished on the major faults with this boiler, in my opinion, it's an absolutely brilliant boiler for its price and its warranty. And no wonder they have sold over 5 million units now. But don't forget, if you want to buy one of these, don't forget to check out our website, www.Tomcat Plumbing and Heating Supplies, which is abbreviated to phs.co.uk. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.